Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk, where we're keeping you updated. My name is Jonathan Nindi, and first of all, I'd like to thank you for joining me on this video, and I'd like to also let you know you can subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications, that's the little bell, and so you can be getting more videos from us. Otherwise, I'd like to welcome everybody who's new to the channel and would like to thank our ever growing subscriber base for sticking with us and keeping you updated today. So, today we're going to talk about the new buzzword in the tech industry, and that is the metaverse. Join me. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing the new buzzword in the tech industry, and that's the metaverse. So, on Thursday, later in the evening, there was an announcement made by Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, saying that they had changed their name to what they're now calling Meta. So, upon that announcement, the internet went awash and it was buzzing with this meta, like it was metaverse this, metaverse that, metaverse everywhere. Like almost every headline was just Facebook changes name, meta, 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 meta. Yes. And I'm sure a lot of us saw that feed and were probably thinking, okay, what's this meta thing about? And unfortunately for all of us, Mark did follow up with a video explaining what the metaverse is and why they had now changed the name from Facebook to Meta. So, in this video, we're basically going to take a look at what the metaverse is, and why Facebook decided to make a change to what they're now calling themselves as a company. They're now called Meta. So, according to Mark Zuckerberg, the metaverse is basically a virtual environment that allows for people to go to meet, work, play with others using virtual gear or virtual headsets or anything that can enable you to enter a virtual environment, and so by that small definition, what you tend to realize is Mark is basically talking about they've been able to create a virtual environment, a virtual space in which people are able to meet, work, and play. And people are able to get into this environment, this virtual environment, via different devices. That is virtual reality gear, or augmented reality gear, or any other such devices that are able to transport you into this virtual environment that they are calling the metaverse. So, it's basically at its core, Mark says it's basically a blend of virtual reality and an online like experience that gives you the best of both worlds, I guess, and they fuse that together to give us what they're calling the metaverse. Yeah. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why the metaverse? And according to Mark Zuckerberg, he's saying we are basically stepping into the future of the internet. And the concept of the metaverse actually is ushering in what he is envisioning as this is what the future of the internet is going to be. That's his vision for the internet, because I'm sure this is something that he's had time to think about, because the time that he launched Facebook, that was back in 2008 on Compass. At that time, the internet was still booming. We were still having to add so many websites to the internet. People still had to. There were so many places of the world that were not connected. Um, and so when you fast forward to 2021, you find that almost 70% of the world is on the internet and everybody's online. And so I'm thinking at this point in time, Mark is probably now trying to map out, okay, so what will the internet look like in the future? Like, like in the next few 3 5 years or so, what are we looking at in terms of the internet? Now, just to clarify, Mark did mention that this is simply a rebrand. So, in essence, what that means is Facebook has just changed its name from Facebook to Meta. So they've just changed the name. Everything else remains the same. You still have your Facebook, you still have your WhatsApp, you still have your Instagram, and any other application that is related to the now former Facebook brand name. So Meta is going to be like the umbrella term encompassing the applications that were under now the former Facebook. So it's just a rebrand. Everything else remains the same. You still be able to do your WhatsApp, you still be able to do your Instagram, your Messenger, and things like that. It's basically a name change. And companies do this for various reasons, and it's something that's actually normal. Companies do this. They rebrand, they change names, they change colors. So it's nothing new. And basically, when you rebrand, it's still you. You've just maybe changed your colors. You've changed maybe your company name, and things like that. So again, maybe another question that arises is, why the rebrand now? Why has he decided to change the name now? Well, he might have his own reasons, and these are some of the things that I'm thinking could have led to Facebook having to rebrand. And number one, I think it's because of pressure. Facebook has been facing a lot of pressure lately. It's been a rough road for them. They've had to face a lot of sanctions. To start with, maybe if we can go back a little, last year in the third quarter of 2020, Facebook was one of the companies that was being grilled by Congress, because Facebook is one of what they call the top five or big tech, and the big tech companies were really under a lot of scrutiny by Congress and the American government, because according to them, these are companies that have grown too big and they are monopolizing the industry because they're so big, and they're not giving enough room for other companies to grow. And so Mark was under a lot of pressure to sort of clarify their position, and to reiterate the fact that they are not in fact doing as they're not monopolizing the industry, which in fact they are actually. And so from the third quarter of last year, this year Facebook has had its fair share of things happen. Just last month, or was it earlier this month, they had a blackout that lasted 6 hours that led to about $5.6 billion in losses because of the blackout. And not so long ago after that, we had there was an employee from Facebook that came out, a whistleblower, and she brought into the light a lot of things that, according to her, Facebook is doing that is illegal. One of the quotes that I've really heard her put out is that Facebook doesn't care. They actually put profits over people's privacy and safety. And Facebook has come out and denied those claims, saying that they actually do like put people's privacy as priority, and everybody's safety is like number one on their amongst the things that they do. And so, looking at having been grilled by Congress, you had a blackout not so long ago, and one of your own employees goes out into the public and starts saying all sorts of things. And she wasn't just speaking out of the blue, she had documentations, papers, putting out all these things. So that's where my reason number one comes from. I think Facebook has been having a lot of chaos happening around, and now the pressure is getting to Mark, and now he's just like, okay, can we just do something to just take the focus of Facebook, and one of those things is rebranding. And so what point number two is, the rebranding, basically what I'm thinking is supposed to help sort of create a distraction, like take everybody's attention away from, the focus that's been put on Facebook, and the distraction now is like, oh, so there's this other thing, and now everybody can now focus on, oh, okay, so what's this? And, they can stop focusing on Facebook and the stories that they've been having going against them. And one of the things that really solidifies my second reason is just 2 days before the announcement made by Mark about the metaverse, I was reading an article that was saying that Facebook was going to employ about 15,000 people in Europe to help carry out the metaverse. Now, here's the thing, and this is where my reasoning really comes in, because you see, Europe happens to be one of the places that's really been strict on Facebook. I mean, I think a lot of the other big tech company that's really had issues in Europe is Google. They've had sanctions, they've had to pay fines, because according to Europe, the European Union, there are a lot of breaches that these big tech companies, Facebook and Google, have been having in their region. That is privacy issues. And the Europeans are very strict when it comes to privacy and how you use the data. So Facebook doesn't exactly have a very good record on the European scene. And so that's what I mean by for them to even want to employ that many people for the metaverse, it means they're actually just trying to distract them and say, hey, look, we're actually going to employ like 15,000 people. That's a huge number, you should really dumb it down with these sanctions that you're putting off. So my theory is they're doing this just to sort of get on the good side of the European Union, because I mean, they've had a bad role with the European Union. They've had to pay huge sums of money, and their reputation has been ruined because of certain incidences and breaches that have happened on the European front. And like I said before, the European Union is very strict with how data is handled. Privacy there is a major issue. And so, well, I'm thinking this is one of those things Mark thought and said, hey, why don't we try and distract them with the metaverse that's got everybody talking, and so yeah, the last reason I'll give, or I think is the possibility why the metaverse has come up is, well, it looks like we are in the race. We are in the virtual reality race. Now, if you don't know, Facebook is not the first tech company to talk about virtual reality. Virtual reality has been something that's been exploding actually from as far back as 2015. It's something that's been there, only that it was I think a lot of companies were still trying to test out certain gadgets and really trying to piece together how we can go from our physical environment to transitioning to a virtual environment. And so since then, a lot of companies have been working on these things, and I think as regards to the companies, Microsoft earlier this year released gave us basically a look at what they've been working on, what they're calling the Microsoft Mesh. And so the mesh is basically also sort of running the same kind of concept. They're looking at creating virtual reality and how we can interact as human beings in a virtual space. So Facebook is not the first company to attempt virtual reality environment and interactions and things like that. Microsoft is into that business as well. And so that's why I bring up my third reason to say, ladies and gentlemen, there is a virtual reality race, and Facebook just threw its card in there and said, hey, we also want to be part of this. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is basically the metaverse and everything about it. Now, as you can see, the fact that Facebook is not the only one that's been doing this, it really doesn't come as a surprise that they decided to throw their name in the hat also to say we also want to attempt virtual reality. And I'm thinking this is because this is a relatively new space. Not a lot of people are doing this right now. At the moment, I only know of the Microsoft and Facebook. Maybe there are other companies that are doing it that may be on maybe a smaller scale, but amongst the big tech, I think Facebook and Microsoft are the ones leading this right now. And here's the thing. Once you manage to come up with this virtual environment and you make it workable, you become the first one to actually make this commercial and let it be widespread, you're really going to rack in a lot of money because everybody's going to come to you. And it's a very interesting thing to move into a virtual environment. It's something that's, it's novice, it's new, no one's doing this. So once you have the rights and you are able to do this on like a large scale, that's a lot of money, people. And so that's why these big tech companies are investing billions and billions of dollars, because they know once they have something workable and a solution that can really do what they say it can do, a lot of people are going to come running, and they're really going to be the people offering these services. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's basically the lowdown on the metaverse. It is basically a virtual environment that's been created by Facebook to basically enhance people meeting, working, and playing. And Mark also closed off his video saying that Facebook has always been about connecting people and bringing people together. And this metaverse looks like it's one of those things that has come on. Before we had the Marvel, we all know the Marvel universe. We all know the DC universe. Now we have the meta universe. Oh, the metaverse. So they call it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so that's it for today. I'm going to be doing another video where we take a deep dive into the metaverse, explaining a few things, and so that'll be coming up soon in my next video. Otherwise, that's it for today. My name is Jonathan Nindi, aka JAY, and this has been Tech Talk, where we're keeping you updated. Always remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and tick that bell so that you can be getting more videos from us. Bye for now.